the most electrifying villain in all of YouTube entertainment today. And today I am going to be doing some late night talks. I haven't done this in a while, but if you guys don't know, this is where I do some different articles. We talk, we discuss. I also have popculturepb, my fearless co-host, who will be here shortly. As per usual, he is never here on time. When he's here on time, that's an unusual day. So welcome, everybody. I got a few great topics to talk about. If you guys would like to follow along with the topics that I have tonight, I have links in the description for you guys to follow. Now, I don't always go in chronological order. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I wait on a particular topic if I'm waiting for somebody who is late, and that would be my co-host. So, I'm going to start off a little bit differently. So if you want to follow with me with the article I'm reading, the links are all there for the articles I will be presenting tonight. But I'm going to start off a little bit different so that I can wait for my fearless co-host to come in. So the first article I will be doing tonight is going to be on Scarlett Johansson. Yes, I figure after Jurassic Park Rebirth has come out, there's been an interesting. Oh my goodness! Have I summoned the bear when I was about to?
Time. I'm right on time. Didn't you just start?
This motherfucker. Welcome. Late Night Talks is official because PB is never on time. Never. I said 8. What? It's 8:03.
That's right on time, isn't it?
Oh, Jesus Christ. So, I was going to skip ahead, but now we can talk.
Isn't that, what do you mean you were going to skip ahead? Skip ahead of what?
I wasn't going to do my first thing I got posted as the first thing we were talking about until you got here.
Why? What were you going to talk about without me, dickhead?
Scarlett Johansson.
Fuck you.
That's what you get for being late.
Motherfucker. Okay, so Scarlett Johansson. Yes, please. Another.
Okay, so, no. I am going
read that? Yeah, you can read it as soon as I turn it the right way.
Always Coca-Cola. No, the first one I want to talk about is going to be The Last of Us.
Oh.
Yep. And
shouldn't you do this last if it's The Last of Us?
No, because it's the longest. We'll get this out of the way first. This is also accompanied by a video because I want to get your thoughts before I play this video, which may confirm some things people don't want to admit. And as much as I hate Neil Cuckman, he might have been D&D'd in his show. If you guys don't know the slang, when you get D&D'd in your show, that's when a creator takes control and thinks that they know how to do a story better and they completely fuck it up and tank a whole entire fucking show.
Sounds like fun.
In this case, it only took them one season to fuck it up. So first, I'm going to read this article, which was on AOL. I don't know. I think TV Line was the first one to break this. But The Last of Us creator is departing ahead of season 3. He says now is the right time.
I bet. I would have departed halfway through season 2.
And you thought Joel was going to be The Last of Us' biggest loss going into season 3. Neil Druckmann and the co-creator of both the HBO series and the video game it is based on announced on Wednesday he is departing the day-to-day operations of the series. I've made the difficult decision to step away from the creative involvement of The Last of Us on HBO, Druckmann said via a statement that he also shared with his team at Naughty Dog, the video game company behind The Last of Us. Source material. What were you going to say?
I said woof because you said dog.
With work completed on season 2 and before meaningful work starts on season 3, now is the right time for me to transition my complete focus on Naughty Dog's future project.
Time to become trans.
Including the writing and directing of our exciting new game, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, which is looking to be very woke.
No way.
Again, with my responsibilities as studio head and head of creative. He continued, creating the show has been a career highlight. It's been an honor to work alongside Craig Mazin to executive produce, direct, and write on the last two seasons. I am deeply thankful for the thoughtful approach and dedication, the talented cast and crew that it took to adapting The Last of Us Part 1 and continued adaptation of The Last of Us Part 2. And this is just a whole fucking letterhead, and I'm not reading it all. In addition
Oh,
to
that's sad.
In addition to the additional statement to TV Line, he added, I look forward to HBO and PlayStation Productions continuing Ellie and Abby's story into the next season. TV Line confirmed Druckmann will not write or direct any of season 3, but still will hold the title of co-creator and executive producer.
Well, duh.
He goes on to say it's been a creative dream to work with Neil and bring an adaptation of the brilliant work to life on HBO, Mazin said in a separate statement. I couldn't have asked for a more generous and creative partner. As true fan of Naughty Dog and Neil's work in video games, I am beyond excited to play his next game. While he focuses on that, I'll continue to work with our brilliant cast and crew to deliver to show our audience has come to expect. We are so grateful to Neil, the series writer of The Last of Us Part 2, and Haley Gross for entrusting us with the incredible story of Part 2. And we're just as grateful to the millions of people around the world who tuned in. HBO has renewed the drama for season 3 in April ahead of you. A season 4 renewal has not yet been announced and probably won't be.
Are you sure that didn't say tuned out?
I'm pretty sure it did say tuned out, but you know my reading, PB. And he said season 3 likely won't afford the show enough time and space to conclude the rest of the story. Now, before I get to the video that I'm going to follow this up with, explaining some things that have changed my mind when you hear clips, because much like Game of Thrones, remember when we watched the behind the scenes and nothing the fucking director said made sense when they explained the thing, like with the dragons and she couldn't see the fucking thing? I'm going to play somebody who's done an in-depth analysis, listen to all of the podcasts, and we're going to listen to their video. It's about 20 minutes. But I think it's important.
That's why this topic's so fucking long, because we're chilling.
Yep. So before I go into all of that, I just want your off the cuff feelings.
I don't have any cuffs on this shirt.
Your off the skin feelings of.
That's disturbing, but okay, I guess I'm from Wisconsin, so.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you wear shorts in winter. Anyways, what are just your initial thoughts before we get into what I think the reasons are? But do you think that Neil is to blame or Craig is to blame? Or do you think that they had a falling out?
I think that they mutually fucked it up.
Okay, so you think it's a mutual thing? Yeah.
Well, I think one person wanted to make it terrible in one way, and another person wanted to make it terrible in a different way.
So, I was hoping we would have.
Let's just put it this way: if you're adapting the game, I haven't played the games, but I've watched both seasons, and if they're adaptations of the game, no fucking shit, everybody hates the second game.
Yeah, and here's the thing.
I assume, and I could be wrong because I haven't watched a whole bunch of stuff on this. I would assume the people who are like mega fans from the beginning were hoping that the show could be, I don't know, ever so slightly different, and you don't get rid of the only compelling character that people care about. But I don't
know. Okay, now, and here's the thing. You could have made Ellie compelling, but the actress has gotten a lot of shit. Just terrible memes, terrible stuff. And look, listen, people, listen. In this very rare case, I'm gonna say We all watched The Last of Us Part 1. She's not a bad actress, Bella Ramsey.
She's not a bad actress, but I'm just going to stay with what I said a while ago. She should just go back to Bear Island.
She's not a bad actress. But like I was saying, she's not given any material to work with. And I don't care who the fuck you are. If you are given dog shit material to work with, you can only make a turd so shiny. There's very few actors, Nicolas Cage, who could take a truly shitty project and you slap their name on it, and while the project may be shit, you go, well, we still got Nick Cage, right? Nick Cage has done some fucking god-awful movies, but at the same time, they're always entertaining because when Nick Cage is being unhinged Nick Cage, we love unhinged Nick Cage. And God, when that man retires, I'm just going to give up fucking YouTubing. But anyways, there'll be no point.
It's just like the greatest movie that we ever watched in the fandom zone. Romper Stomper.
Oh, yeah, that was fucking...
Like, the movie is terrible, but it has Russell Crowe, so...
And that's the thing, though. There's certain people who can't save a project no matter how hard you try. Although, if I remember correctly, Stevie fucking loved it. It's got to be an Australian thing. So, but, like, here's the thing. I think that this video is going to explain the fundamental reasons, and we can start to see your idea of where two bad ideas, consequently, or two misunderstandings of a character totally destroyed the overall story. And here's the thing. The Last of Us Part 2 had a lot of fucking problems, but this show actually made me miss the game. So I'm going to play a video by Supercuts Delight, and if you haven't seen this channel, go check them out. This is a great in-depth video, and it's really important to go through this point by point because he's going to break down and splice in some sound clips from the directors themselves saying some very interesting things and explaining a lot of how this season got so terribly fucked up.
And but no game spoilers. I've never played the game.
Yeah, so there's no game spoilers. But it's very interesting.
How the fuck can there be no game spoilers if it's exactly the same?
It isn't. The show, oh man. Like, I showed you the clips that were similar, but it's very DV.
Yeah, that's all the important ones.
By
important ones, like all the important scenes in season 2 is Joel getting killed. The end.
No, they cut out a lot. He'll explain.
No, I am telling you, guy, all of the important scenes in season 2 are Joel getting killed. Period.
First aspect of The Last of Us Season 2 is how poorly adapted Ellie's character is from the game. They barely resemble each other, and this isn't going to be about Bella Ramsey's appearance, but how Craig Mazin writes her character. I listened through all 7 of the show's podcasts where Craig Mazin, Troy Baker, and Neil Druckmann break down the show and its characters.
That looks like
there were a lot of insights
intriguing.
and eye-opening.
What's that?
So that looks like it's super intriguing.
Marks, and I'll splice those in throughout the video. Also, for context, Craig Mazin has sole writing credit on the first 5 episodes, and he helped write the last 2 with Neil and Haley Gross, the original writers.
And I just want to say, we even said, what was the best episode? Sadly,
6.
And I hate to admit it, it's the one written by Neil Druckmann, episode 6. 7 was
because it's not because the writing is great. It's because of what physically happens on the screen. Did he write that was going to physically happen? No. That's what happened in the game.
So technically, yes. If that's from the game, he wrote that scene. That scene wouldn't exist without writing it into existence.
So then why the fuck did he bring anybody else in to write the show?
Because games and shows, apparently you can't fucking translate them. That's what they say anyways.
The game. To start, let's go into the most damning change made to Ellie's character, which is her intellect.
Sure.
Every episode in some way touches on Ellie lacking general wits in varying magnitudes. From not packing medical supplies for a major journey, wanting to rush straight into a WLF station, Dina having to stress to Ellie that shooting her gun will draw too much attention, or Ellie wanting to Leroy Jenkins into a group of 6 wolves to save a Seraphite child. An action that would most definitely get her killed. There are more moments and some other micro examples, but I don't want to take like 5 minutes listing all of them out. Now, from listening to Craig Mazin talk about Ellie, there seems to be 2 main reasons for this change in general IQ. One is that Craig wanted to give Dina more of an important role, so he decided to make their dynamic to where Dina is the brains of the operation.
Ellie's the brawn and Dina's the brains. I think they sort of go together really well in that sense.
Ellie is not good at planning. Ellie is amazing at doing things. And
So I just was.
That's fair.
That is not at all what the character is supposed to be. So, and this is proven by.
Well, you
and
said,
we're not going to go
you
into
said
the
they had
game.
to adapt it for TV, guy.
No. We're not going to use the TV example or the game example because I know what you're going to say. Okay, I'm going to go off of season 1. In season 1, she was taught, trained, and she was with the most badass survivor, Pedro Pascal. Rest in peace. We'll see you in Fantastic Four.
He will protect us.
She was taught by Joel all of these things. But when we get to this season, it's like a video game. See what I did there? And they reset her character to fucking stupid. How many examples did we see in the show where she did not even act remotely close to where she was in season 1? And
7.
in season 1, that's very specific. In season 1, she had this weird thing that happens when you do a show called character growth, and it's just like they totally fucking reset her. And it was a lot, and I said they fixed Dina's character, but what they wind up doing is they did a hard course correct. They just straight up gave Dina all of the things that Ellie should have had. Dina in the game is basically an NPC. She does help out, but she's not as important as, the main character, which is Ellie.
Joel.
Joel's dead. No, Joel's dead in like the first fucking 5 minutes of the game. Well, no, that's
Yeah, but he's
20.
the main character of The Last of Us.
Not in part 2.
Ellie is incredible when it comes to persistence, dedication, and single-mindedness.
I feel this approach to writing a dynamic where you're degrading one character while uplifting the other is extremely flawed. It's one thing creating original characters that fill in each other's gaps or weaknesses, but it's another thing entirely where you're taking a pre-established character and downgrading how smart they are. And it's not like, oh, okay, fair. Ellie doesn't know how to triangulate radio signals and doesn't like math or protractors because that's...
And to be fair, neither do I.
Understandable. But making it to where her basic common sense is so shot to the point that she's a hair's length away from getting herself killed constantly is crazy. Ellie and Dina in the game were collaborative. They strategized together. You never got a sense that one was drastically smarter than the other, or let alone so far to the point that characters are chastising Ellie's intelligence as if she's a toddler, which is extremely demeaning. This creates a massive disconnect viewers have with bonding and sympathizing with the main character. You're frustrating viewers because Ellie is making decisions that don't reflect how smart she should be, which this is different from characters making mistakes and instead how they think about things in general. This dynamic as well isn't just exclusive to Dina because it also applies to Jesse. When every character is highlighting how dumb the main character is, then that makes them very unlikable and is kind of why Dina is greatly outshining Ellie in her own story. Another thing is that if you're dumbing down a character, you're also partially taking away their agency. They aren't making their own decisions 100% of the time, and other characters are telling them, no, you can't do that, or just telling Ellie what to do. This robs her of having an interactive presence in the story because she operates more of a brute who rushes into situations and is being commanded by her companions. Dina, until she's incapacitated by the arrow, feels more like the main character than Ellie does because she has that greater sense of agency, along with being more motivated to kill Abby than Ellie does. This isn't to say that Ellie doesn't make her own choices, because she does occasionally, but more so towards the end of the season, or if
Yeah, that's wild because this is supposed to be Ellie's continuation after Joel died. She's supposed to be the one who takes over. And I remember mentioning it's like, well, it's going to be interesting because this one person has to carry the whole fucking show. And oh boy, did they go in a so wrong direction. But shout out to the actress who plays Dina, because she did a fucking fantastic job. She was probably the best character in the show.
After Joel.
Yeah,
if she's alone. Like, Ellie breaking into the hospital is basically just dumb luck in the show and displays no intelligence whatsoever. If she was here with Dina as an example, then they would have definitely strategized to get in, or Dina would have. At a bare minimum, you think that Ellie would try to create some kind of distraction to lure people out of the hospital, or, I don't know, something other than praying there's a random hole in the building that gives her convenient access into the interior. The other main aspect that highlights Ellie's low intellect is her being reckless. It seems that Craig Mazin has really taken the reckless aspect.
Like, just from my personal experience, it's important that you know where the holes are.
Yes, very important. Although in the show, I don't know how much you paid attention because I was checked in.
I'm going to say that there's a giant hole in this building. You would think that maybe not necessarily have somebody posted outside of it, but have somebody posted at some point from where the hole is to where you can make a turn so that people can't just walk in the back of your fucking complex.
And that is what we call a convenience. It was like they didn't even want to give her the intellect to have to figure out a way in. And bringing it back to your favorite character, PB, Joel, I feel like, and we'll use Last of Us 1, would have figured out a way to distract the enemies, lure them out, and then, fucking kill people as he does. But she just stumbles on this random hole that nobody's guarding. That just happens to be
on it. She was walking smoothly.
Of Ellie's character in the game and ran with it in terms of rationalizing her lack of reasoning. To give some context, Ellie's pursuit of Abby is reckless in a general sense. She's willing to forego logic in that their odds of survival are slim, but she's willing to risk that because she'll do anything to kill Abby. That's what Ellie prioritizes the most and doesn't compromise on those ideals. Like the point of Ellie being mad at Dina for being pregnant and her refusal.
Oh, yeah. And it plays out the same in the game. Solely, that's a big point because, her single-mindedness for revenge gets all of those around her hurt, but she's not a fucking idiot while she's doing it. And, Asian. He was always doomed.
To drop this quest heavily highlights this, which this is all missing or is heavily downplayed in the show. So in the game, this recklessness is more applied in a macro sense to Ellie's journey. But from a moment-to-moment basis, Ellie is not
that was
reckless.
Cut out of the game, or that was cut out of the show.
Yeah.
They'll explain this later. So this scene right here was supposed to be day one, the opening day she kills someone. There's a cool nod to PlayStation also because this character is playing a PSP when you come up behind him, and she slits this person's throat without like hesitation. And
you really wanted to say Asian there. I heard it in your voice.
No, what? I would never. We here in the Phantom Zone are all inclusive. Kryptonians or Earthlings.
She isn't doing stupid things that would most definitely get herself killed in the game. Or I guess you could technically argue that outside of cutscenes, the player controls Ellie, and depending on how you play, Ellie could have differing levels of impulsivity. However, since it's a video game, logic from the real world doesn't apply the same to this medium in which action is
Good.
used more as a tool to entertain the player. If anything, the gameplay establishes that Ellie is a formidable singular presence. She can outsmart enemies, she's laying traps, or is executing stealth kills and wiping out squads of soldiers. Now, obviously for the show, there's a certain extent of this being unrealistic in the real world. But when you remove this entirely, and then also replace this with Ellie being extremely reckless, that acts as whiplash for how different these characters are. Like if Show Ellie went up against Game Ellie, she'd get absolutely decimated. Even for the two
that's for
stalker
sure.
encounters, Ellie
Oh, yeah.
literally loses, and she's only alive because she's immune. Or there's the new scene in the show where she ends up on Scar Island and only survives because of a massive coincidence. And I still don't.
Yeah, this scene still never made sense to me. I don't know if you remember, but they
We
got
gotta
her
go.
hung up.
We gotta go. Don't leave her hung up here. Let her down, but we should leave. How fucking
That
dumb.
was, oh my god, I have no clue why that scene's
I don't
even
know
in
why
there.
they didn't kill her quickly in this moment. By making your character this reckless, that not only makes them even more unlikable, but you're also now highlighting their plot armor. Ellie is barely alone in the show, and the couple times she is on her own, she's surviving encounters because of flat out luck. It wouldn't make sense for her to suddenly be way smarter on her own, which is basically a requirement for her to stay alive in these situations. So Craig Mazin naturally has every encounter conveniently go in Ellie's favor. In general, for Ellie being impulsive, you have to find a balance between highlighting this character trait without completely compromising how smart she is. As an example for this point, for the scene of the 6 wolves capturing the Seraphite, this scene would work if it was instead 3 wolves. Now it's more plausible for Ellie and Jesse to take them out, but Jesse, being who he is, still
Yeah.
doesn't want to take the risk. This change scene still shows a fundamental difference between these two characters, instead of the audience interpreting this moment as Ellie being dumb. So yeah, to me, it's a pretty weird and
I love how he
demeaning
does the Game of
change,
Thrones
downgrading
thing.
how smart a character is.
You know, so it shows Varys in season 8. Man, can we hashtag justice for Varys? Because like they fucked his character so hard in the last season, and he was such a good character.
Especially so much to the point that now the audience is even becoming frustrated with the character's actions. And when you get to that point, then I feel that's a failure on the writing front. Before moving on to the next point, let's talk about today's sponsor, Squarespace.
Oh, man.
Let's
writing.
Okay, so here we
Now
go.
let's get back to the video. Going into the next aspect for Ellie's character that has changed is her maturity. Craig Mazin seems to be convinced that Ellie is still a teenager or is still becoming an adult.
But this is where Ellie wants to make a choice. When Dina questions it, Ellie says, we'd rather let the men handle it. And it's not even about gender. It's about adults. Really, what she's saying is, do you want the grown-ups to handle it?
Oh, that's not what she said at all, though.
Fair.
How can you interpret it that way? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, the line couldn't be any more straightforward with 2 women on screen. Because if it would have been Asian dude that got shot in the head, she still would have said the same thing. Like, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to let just the man handle it. Like, you got to be shitting me. No, man does not mean grown up at all. So how am I supposed to believe anything this fucking guy says? Because that was a load of shit. If it was meant to be grown-ups, it would say fucking grown-ups.
And the wild part is, none of this shit is being said by Neil. This is being said by Craig. And Neil's been getting shit for leaving. And now I'm starting to think, PB, I don't know about you, we'll continue because there's a lot more damning shit this guy says. I'm starting to think Neil has seen the writing on the wall. He's like, you know what? You guys want to fuck up my show, my fucking... I'm not going to be a part of this.
I guess.
And I don't blame him because that is the stupidest fucking... That's why I wanted to wait to play this video for you. It gets better. I thought D&D said stupid shit when we did the Game of Thrones breakdown. But this is amazing. This is fucking spectacular. This shows how out of touch Hollywood is with reality, just in general.
A 19-year-old
Oh,
is still
play
pretty
this. I'm gonna go
young,
get a
but
drink
everyone
first.
has differing levels of
19 years
maturity
old
at
is
different
not that
ages.
young in the
And for this
apocalypse.
world specifically,
No,
you have to
it's not.
consider the fact that Ellie and everyone now are growing up in a post-apocalyptic environment, meaning that these characters are experiencing so much shit that their mental age should be far higher than their actual age. By the age of 19, Ellie should be hardened. She literally grew up in a hostile environment in Fedra school, and her best friend died right in front of her.
I'm so
Her
angry,
life
I
is
gotta drink
riddled
liquor out
with
of the
trauma,
bottle.
and you're telling me that Ellie is still acting like an annoying kid who's longing to be an adult? I get the sense that Craig Mazin is applying our reality where a 19-year-old is not really an adult yet to this world, which doesn't really make sense, and I find his writing to be kind of contradictory surrounding this
Just a
topic.
tad.
He even includes
What's that?
Just a tad.
Yeah, like it doesn't make sense. It's like when people play games, right? Because he's adapting a game. It's like when your friend has a totally off interpretation of what you have. But the difference here, PB, is that the creator of the game is working with this guy writing an adaptation of his work into live action. See, where you don't win the argument is you're talking to the person who created the fucking game. They had an idea of where the person is, where the character is at, their age, the timeline, everything else. There shouldn't be a question.
No, you shouldn't have any fucking questions. You're the one you created.
There's no debate.
Like, what the fuck?
It's so fucking weird. It's just the weirdest, I don't know, Fallout, whatever that I've ever seen, and this explains a lot.
Fallout
the
is way
moment where
better
Dina
than
and Ellie
these.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for season 2. By the way,
talk about their first kill, which is a wild conversation to have in our world, but for theirs, that's a normal topic. By default, any character in this setting, given what they live through and how much responsibility they have, should have almost double the mental age to their physical age. For the game, this obviously wasn't a problem because Ellie actually resembles an adult. This isn't just from the perspective of how she physically looks, because you can feel her maturity through her demeanor, attitude, and how she generally talks to other characters. Ellie's dynamic with characters in the show, however, like with Jesse especially, feels like an adult chaperoning for a child. You don't get the sense that these are both adults, and this is especially insinuated with how much Ellie is talked down to. I know Jesse in the end is very frustrated with Ellie, but their entire vibe felt like a parent coming to get a child that ran away from home. Instead of, hey, you went off on this extremely dangerous revenge quest. Let me help you. There's more respect between characters when they're both construed as adults, and this respect is fundamentally lacking in the show. Thus, their dynamic is completely different from the game. This also synergizes with her intelligence point and Ellie still making choices that an impulsive child would make. Like again, that moment with the wolves capturing the Seraphite is essentially the thesis of why Ellie is written so poorly, because this isn't what an adult would do. Jesse is basically wrangling and operating as if he's in daycare mode. Even the joke in the library where Ellie grabs a sesame...
Was that?
That's because he is in daycare mode.
Yeah, and this is the thing. You're passing off the show to this character we're supposed to follow, who's supposed to follow Pedro fucking Pascal and be
Pedro,
this adult hardened for revenge. I don't know about you, but like in the first 3 episodes after...
I don't need Ellie hardened, by the way. Like, that's a completely different show. That would be more like the trans of us.
I feel like in this show, she's just on a fucking leisurely stroll with Dina, and revenge is like something they might do eventually.
Sure.
It doesn't feel like she's torn up, she's sad. There's no emotion. So you're watching this because you're bored, because you're watching a CW level fucking love story that you don't give a flying...
I don't know, man. Like, One Tree Hill is pretty good.
Okay, I mean later CW, the Batwoman era. I know you love the show, but you're like on a fucking island, obviously, because it got canceled.
Well, I'm on the island with Batwoman and She-Hulk, so it's a pretty good time.
Hey, I apologized already after I watched Ironheart. I was like, you know what?
I have not continued it yet.
I was like, you know what? Oh man, we might have been wrong because at least the She-Hulk actress could fucking act. I will give them that. The lines might have been written poor, the feminist bullshit might have been overbearing, but at least the actors could act. Jesus Christ, man. We'll get to Ironheart later.
Jesse's remark here is an odd moment.
You picked a good one. Should have thought of that.
And the fact that Ellie's older now, there's this kind of slightly more grown-up wisdom going on there. Is he though?
Like, I don't know why you would write this into the show if you weren't insinuating in some way that Ellie isn't a fully fledged adult yet. This also plays into the unlikable aspect.
And guys, definitely check out Supercuts Delight. They got other great videos, very in-depth breakdowns. I like it.
Of Ellie's character this season.
For only TV, only 23 minutes. Most breakdowns are like an hour. I was like, okay, this is good.
Fact I brought up earlier that essentially pours gasoline on this issue is her attitude. The best word that sums up Ellie this season is petulance. She's ill-tempered, she lashes out, and can be irritable at times. This sours her relationship and interactions with other characters. She's butting heads with people, being disrespectful, or on the opposite side of the coin, she's sometimes displaying a sense of heightened joy and happiness when she shouldn't be in that mindset. Like an example of this...
And before he gets into this, I just want to say, this is weird. Okay, so in the game, just a reference, Ellie and Dina bang before Joel dies. They actually changed the scene. They were in the weed house, and they have sex while Joel is being fucking golf clubbed. And this makes sense because... this is the last happy thing this fucking character does before you play like 40 hours of fucking misery. After Joel's death, Ellie is a fucking miserable character. And this is why I said it took me a lot of time to play through the game, because it's a miserable fucking game. And it's a unbearably just taxing experience. I've been high, I've been drunk, and it's still fucking hard for me to get through the game because that's supposedly the whole point, and I have my own issues, but this makes the game 20 times better. So Neil, you're a mad genius. This probably makes everybody who never played the fucking game go, I should probably play the game because you'll get a better experience, ironically. Whereas in the show, she just lost the most important person. We just lost Pedro. Everybody's pissed off that Pedro is gone, right? And then you have a scene where Ellie talks about being a dad. What the fuck? Like,
I'm gonna be a dad.
It's like I was just watching this going, how did we get here?
This was in the beginning of episode 5, where Ellie skips into the scene like a giddy schoolgirl while Dina was planning. Ta-da! This is a general mentality that this character shouldn't be in. Or at the very least, if you want to tell a story about the crushing nature of vengeance, then displaying your character as having a great and wonderful time is inherently contradictory. This is why you need your character to resemble more of an adult. They need to
And remember I played for you the side-by-side pregnancy scenes, right? The first one we played from the game is a more accurate response than the one in the show. Because the one in the show makes no fucking sense. If you're on a revenge quest, okay,
I'm gonna be a dad. You're a woman.
and let's just do this to one of the greatest action movie trilogies of all time. And I say trilogy because we don't count number 4, John Wick.
Oh, the Wick.
So just imagine this, PB. We get to the harrowing scene, the scene everybody knows that spurred this massive franchise, right? They break into John Wick's house. They kill that fucking adorable dog. We're all pissed off. And then the very next scene, John is fucking skipping in the shower going, I'm gonna go kill people. Yada, yada, yada. Would that make any sense? Would you feel like you're ready for revenge mode? Would you want to go on a rampage?
In a word, no.
No, you wouldn't. So it's fucking weird. She's like always fucking happy when we're supposed to be going on a murder quest.
Have the maturity to effectively hit the required character beats on this arc, which some of these major story moments are well done, but prior scenes don't properly build to these integral plot beats and are therefore way less effective than the game. For this general point, this is also where a lot of people were blaming Bella Ramsey's acting in that people thought it was the actor's choice to display Ellie in this way. However, that comes down to the writer and director. An actor's job is to best fulfill the wishes of those two people, and actors can sometimes make changes that are better for the character, assuming that the director agrees. So I don't blame Bella Ramsey at all. I think there were great signs throughout the show that showcased her excellent
Yeah, I don't
acting.
blame
And this more
Hayden
comes
Christensen either.
You know what? PB, excellent point and a good way to bring up Star Wars as you like to do. But yeah, a lot of people blamed Hayden Christensen and he got a lot of shit, but there was a lot of love later on for him because as much as we love George didn't have anybody to rein him in a bit and say, no, George, this line doesn't fit. Maybe change it to this, right? And the actor is just acting out the scene.
I disagree, guy. I completely disagree with your second premise. I think that George did know what he was doing and got him to act the exact way that he wanted him to, because he doesn't have any fucking social skills.
Okay, all right. You can make excuses, but that was some fucking shitty writing. I'm sorry. I love the prequels as much as
you gotta
I
figure at the point that we're seeing him now is like the most freedom he's ever had in his entire life.
I think that would be a fun debate one day, to debate some of the weirdness in the prequel trilogy, but we could both agree that George would never make lines that were in this show.
No, he never would have had Obi-Wan say, I'm gonna be an uncle, which everybody would be like, oh, sure, that tracks, because, you know, they're like brothers. But it's not real.
Dude, man, great point.
down to
You
how
paused
Craig
it at a
Mason
perfect
wrote her to
time.
be
That
more
was
like
good.
a child. For the third point, let's discuss Ellie's lethality, since this was a controversial aspect in the beginning especially, specifically regarding Ellie learning jujitsu. In retrospect, for the entire season, Ellie puts one person in a chokehold and this skill never comes up again.
Boom, motherfucker.
So, if we're going to set up a character as having certain skills in their opening scene,
Why
then
don't
from a
I
writing
remember this barn
perspective,
scene?
That was in the first episode, and you don't remember it because we both had a hard time going through the first episode because it was so fucking boring. That's it was like in the first like 10 minutes of the first episode or 15. Yeah. Anytime Joel wasn't on the screen, I checked out of that first episode, but it's in there.
it would be
Carry
weird
on.
if that doesn't really have a payoff or is represented throughout the season. To be fair, though, it would be pretty funny if Ellie was like a martial arts master and used that all the time, and I'm fine with that scarcely being used and primarily as a last resort. However, this now goes into the point of she doesn't really have any other main skills, which is kind of a contradiction in her role of being someone who goes on patrols. I think the most natural skills that should have been established that stays more true to Ellie is her resourcefulness in crafting, like in regards to traps, along with her also being skilled with a bow. For the crafting skill, she'd actually have to be intelligent, so there's no way this version of Ellie can craft a makeshift pipe bomb as an example.
That was pretty good.
And I also
craft stuff. She's got to have some brains, and fucking Craig ruined that.
And here's the thing I want to bring up too. They said they wanted to make it more realistic. But PB, let me just ask you, because here on the Phantom Zone, you're the guy who keeps Kryptonian grounded, right? You're big into realism. Wouldn't it make sense that someone who traveled with fucking Joel, who was the master survivalist, right? And we did a time jump and everything, we saw that he taught Ellie stuff. Wouldn't it be like logical that he taught her maybe how to make different things? We saw him with the building construction in season 1, right? Like maybe before they had their falling out, because that was like 2 or 3 years later, like maybe he taught her crafting stuff so that we see a scene where with that dumb fucking ridiculous convenience of the whole, maybe she lays down traps for the people following her and they blow up and shit. And that would give her, I don't know, something, because Ellie in the game, when you play as Abby, there's a really scary scene where you have a boss fight with Ellie and you have to beat her, and she's setting like bombs and shooting you with arrows and all sorts of crazy shit. And to be honest with you, in the game, she's a fucking psychopath. So like,
That's the next category, guy. Don't jump the gun.
I'm not gonna jump the gun, but needless to say, in the game, it's like scary because you play as Ellie, but when you're playing a different character versing her, you see how deadly she actually is. Now, I understand the show can't do that because it's not a fucking video game, but they don't do nothing to show why she would even fucking survive. It's almost as if the creators thought the only reason why she was alive was because of Joel, which, yes, in part 1, a couple of times, but she also in season 1 did a lot of shit herself. She fought the cannibal guys by herself and killed that one dude with a knife. Like, that was all on her own before Joel got there. So she's capable of surviving. So why the fuck are we in season 2 and she's just fucking so stupid and has no survival instinct whatsoever? I don't know. It's weird. Pretty fucking weird. I don't understand.
And those aspects in the game kind of just act as a way to give the combat more variety in weapon choices. But for archery, that's a straightforward skill that any gender can master, and one that also plays into stealth. Something that Ellie should be relying on in this war zone with people and infected everywhere. Being a skilled archer, Ellie would have more of an identity and would have more value to contribute. She could stealth.
He put in a subtitle. I don't know if you read that, but he put never shoots the rifle that they gave her. That the big guy get. Yeah, never once shot that fucking rifle. So I don't even know the fucking point of them highlighting it like 3 or 4 times.
Stealthily kill people and have them avoid the entire problem of making loud noises. It's kind of funny how overlooked this was in terms of planning, because using their guns at any point out in the city is basically a death sentence. One shot in a mile radius basically means that everyone in that proximity would descend upon you. In the game, you were able to craft makeshift silencers to avoid this, or use your bow. So I feel having the bow option in the show, thus giving Ellie more lethality, would have been the best course. There's also the aspect that Craig Mazin highlights in that they didn't want to have Ellie kill that many people. Their argument being, it makes the people she does kill have a bigger and more emotional impact. However, I'd argue that if you're having someone descend down this path of vengeance, then killing random soldiers reinforces the plunge into this dark abyss.
So, PB, let me just ask you. This is supposed to be a revenge story. Craig said he didn't want her to kill that many people. I don't even know what to say. That is the stupidest fucking thing. I don't get it.
Showcases and makes the hate Ellie has come across as being much more prevalent, which I feel is especially needed because that aspect is utterly lacking in her first 2 days. Ellie killing people, as long as it's not an egregious or ridiculous amount, doesn't rob the impact of the people she's emotionally entangled with. She's interacting with those characters on a personal level, and you get that guttural feeling of Ellie killing them, even if she did kill some people prior. Or you could present it in a way that Ellie is more or less killing wolves because they're trying to kill her. Like her killing that first guy was a necessity because it was a fight for survival. If you had Ellie kill more people, I think this would make the narrative flow much better. We wouldn't primarily have Ellie romancing Dina and declaring that she's willing to go home for her. That completely downplays Ellie's hateful potency and makes some of her choices not make sense later on. The exhaustive violence in the game is kind of the point. This is a demanding journey that is taking a massive toll on Ellie. Each day she's becoming less and less of herself while pushing away her friends in the pursuit of Abby. Ellie in her first day for the show is arguably the happiest she's ever been, which is absolutely wild if you played the game and undercuts the revenge arc. Craig Mazin also cut out a major moment where Ellie kills one of the people from the crew on that first day. This was probably cut because of time restraints, but in doing so, it has major consequences for how the story is construed in those first 2 days.
So, PB.
Yep.
So, Craig Mazin cut from the show that, like I said, the first day when they're doing all the subtitles, like day 1 in Seattle, in the game, she kills someone right away from Abby's crew. But in the show, they shot it, but they cut it. Why? There's a time restraints, but
I
now,
was going to say just to make life more difficult.
see, I think that's a mistake because, right, this is supposed to be a revenge quest. The first day, she goes into a fucking music shop, makes a bunch of fucking noise, sings that fucking song, and strums the guitar, and nothing happens, and then they run into some clickers. Or I very vaguely remember most of it because I was struggling to get through the fucking show. I can't wait to see season 3. That's gonna be a total fucking train wreck.
Ellie doesn't actually initiate this vengeance arc until the end of the second day. So in essence, Craig Mazin swapped out Ellie's lethality and her violent spree of vengeance with romance. He wanted to prioritize Dina and Ellie falling in love when that was something that was already established going into Seattle. A change from the game that drastically dampens Ellie's entire arc. For the fourth and last point, let's dive into the general notion of psychopathy. Or is Ellie psychopathic? There's not a clean quote from the podcast to pull from, but there were multiple moments where Craig alludes to this. He essentially implies that Ellie has this deep and dark urge. She's drawn to violence. He also brings up the point of nature versus nurture via Gil's character, and here, Craig argues that there's a dominant nature component to Ellie in that her upbringing is based in violence, particularly referring to how she was raised in Fedra and her regularly getting into fights. He also labels this as one of the reasons as to why Ellie wants to go out on patrol. It allows her to carry out this violence, and he also points to the moment of how much joy Ellie gets out of sniping infected with Tommy. There's some more I'll bring up in a second, but to break off from describing Craig's rendition of Ellie here, I find this to be a weird general change. I don't know if I'm taking crazy pills or if I'm completely misreading Ellie's character, but I never got the sensation that Ellie had these psychopathic tendencies in the game. Yes, she carries out heinous actions like torturing Nora and killing numerous people, but I read this as Ellie being completely blinded by hate. Her love for Joel was so immense to the point that when she loses him, she breaks. Joel was the only person that Ellie ever really opened.
We all love Joel. Yeah, so PB.
Yep.
So Craig in the show claims that Ellie has these psychopathic tendencies because of how she's raised.
So he's just making it up as he goes along?
I mean, from the gist, because in the game, it's more of she's broken by Joel's death. However, in the show, because they spend fucking no time on it, you never get this sense that it's Joel's death, which is supposed to be the whole fucking point of the second season or the second game. So it's just he's trying to relate it of, oh, it's because of her upbringing and the people she was around is the reason why she has these urges. I did not even get that from season 1. I mean, I haven't watched it in a while,
Good choice.
but I feel like that's totally missing the point of what they even set up in the first season. It felt more like she did these things because she had to, fucking survive. Weird.
Up to outside of Riley. Everything that Ellie does in the game is to serve this goal of enacting justice of killing Abby, and not because she has this darker presence within her that craves this. Like, there's another example that alludes to this in how Craig Mazin adapts Nora's death scene.
Boy, when you add in just that one color palette, it just changes everything.
It does something to Bella's face that we were obsessed with. Her eyes turned black.
Now, this is a pretty faithful adaptation on the surface, but Bella Ramsey's performance is extremely different. She's cold, is showing no remorse or sympathy, and the way Ellie is almost smiling, and her expressions here are flat out unsettling. Then there's also the whole moment of Ellie going apeshit on Nora and getting catharsis out of this. Now in the game, the way Ellie is portrayed is actually quite different. You can feel more emotion in her performance. The way she's pacing around insinuates that she's conflicted with what she has to do. And you can feel that there's a little bit of sympathy of Ellie not wanting to have to torture Nora for information. She's only doing this because she has to. There's also an interesting detail in that when Ellie is torturing Nora, you can see flashes of realization that what she's doing is wrong. Ellie feels remorse, but this atrocity is a necessity to find Abby. For the show, we don't get any flashes of humanity in Ellie. There's no internal conflict at all in her performance. She's completely emotionless throughout, and you can actively feel her character deriving satisfaction out of this moment. It's almost as if Ellie is in a trance here. It's really weird. This makes it seem like Ellie has this dark passenger. This is honestly such a big internal change from the game to the point that it now feels like I'm comparing an apple to an orange for characters. But analyzing how this affects the overall story, making Ellie more psychopathic takes away that internal conflict and struggle. You're trading out someone who has more of a basis in humanity with someone that derives satisfaction or even joy out of violence. However, the opposite of this is what makes Ellie so compelling in the game. That inner turmoil and sensation that she's losing herself going down this path is heartbreaking. We're taking a character that the audience loved and we're throwing them through this devastating gauntlet of misery that tears them apart. The show, on the other hand, doesn't sell this as well, and Ellie addressing this moment with Dina is like her being in shock, kind of realizing that she has this dark side that completely consumed her. Again, a scene that plays much differently from the game, where Ellie is actively breaking down and crying from what she did. Now, to be fair, Ellie does have the same turning point as she does in the game, where her indirectly killing an unborn child acts to shatter her blind hatred. This does illustrate Ellie as not being a flat-out psychopath at least, but again, I think Ellie not having these tendencies better communicates an arc in which she's slowly losing her humanity. So for Craig Mazin in the podcast, there wasn't a section where they heavily debated this aspect, but as we discussed, it's very heavily insinuated throughout the show. I'd be interested to hear what Neil Druckmann would think of this, and I can buy that everyone has differing lengths they'll go to enact vengeance, but it's another thing entirely setting up that Ellie is partially psychopathic. So yeah, between Ellie's downgraded intelligence, her maturity resembling more of a child, her lack of lethality or general skills, and psychopathy playing into her character are all pretty baffling changes. All of which are not made for the better, and I'd be fine with these if they did aid Ellie and elevated her from the game. If you didn't know, I also made an overall Season 2 review, and I wanted to detach the Ellie segment from that video because it would have been a long 20-minute plus side tangent. Thank you for watching, and let me know in the comments your thoughts on Ellie.
Phoebe.
Yep.
Overall, Ellie is just one example. If you guys want to get more examples, go check out Supercuts Delight. It has a great video on Season 2 as a whole where he breaks down also certain things within the show. Not so much the game, that are just eras or things that he noticed that break those Floyd. But having watched all that, how are your hopes for Season 3 now that...
Oh my god, I guess you were right when you said that Neil was the best of them on the last of them. And now we're screwed with them.
Oh, yeah. This is fucking terrible.
It's not getting better.
It's not going to get better.
We fucking lied. I'm sorry. I'm still hung up on when he said, well, this means this. It's like, no, it doesn't. In nobody's mind did anybody think, oh, wow, she definitely thinks the female adults were going to do this differently. Fuck no.
It's so wild to me, and this is my problem. And remember what I've said about adaptations. I don't give a shit about gender swapping, race swapping. I want to give an example right now, and guys, go check it out. I'm gonna have a review up on this soon. Sandman.
I thought you were gonna say the White Panther.
So Sandman, they gender swapped and they changed a bunch of stuff. Neil Gaiman, who is the comic book artist, he actually worked on the show with these changes. Their changes, even though it's not the same, say, race or even gender, the person playing the character resembles the character. That's my biggest issue. If you're adapting something and you're saying this is the character, then they need to have the traits of that character. I don't give a shit if they're black, white, a woman as opposed to a man, whatever else that they do politically. If the actor nails the character, then I am fine with that. They changed Death, which is this pasty kind of white chick in the comics, but in the show, it's this black woman, and she does a fucking phenomenal job. And you want to know why, PB? Because she still resembles the character. She still has the traits that make that character come to life from the comic book. So I don't feel like they're just throwing the name on, and saying, yeah, this is the Sandman, although we wanted to create something different, so we just fucking used the name so that people will actually fucking watch this shitty show. If you watched a show, and I was going through the comic books, because they're all on YouTube, you can listen to them being read, and it's amazing how much they literally ripped the scenes from the comic book onto the screen. And the acting is just fucking phenomenal. This season might actually be better than season 1. And I was watching it, and now Bitchy has never read Sandman, has no fucking idea what it was, but she walks in, and there's in the world, Dream is basically the god of dreams. It's a whole big thing. But anyways, his castle is guarded by a dragon, a unicorn, and a griffin. And she walked in, and she was like, oh, that's fucking cool. Like, what is this? Like, they brought the world to life. The world still feels like the comic book. I don't need a one-for-one adaptation. I'll read the fucking comic. I just want to feel like I'm in the world. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
You don't need to adapt Iron Man. You just want to feel like you're watching real-life Tony Stark, right? You want to feel like you're following this cocky asshole who's lovable, whatever else. That's the point of an adaptation. It doesn't have to be one for one. It doesn't have to be perfect. I don't agree with people who say, oh, well, it's not like the comics, so fuck them. And when I say that, I mean, I want the characters to feel like the characters I like. They don't have to be an exact carbon copy, but they should have the characteristics, because if they don't, why the fuck are you adapting this? Like Halo. That wasn't Master Chief. That was Master Cheeks. There was no fucking... He was in no way, shape, or form.
See lots of cheeks.
The only thing Master Chief about him was the last fucking 5 minutes of the last episode. Oh, and the first episode.
In the first 15 minutes.
The first 15 minutes, we were all food. We were like, oh, man, this is great. I don't know what people... Then the rest of the show happened. But speaking of which...
Not for all of us. I didn't watch that stuff.
Yeah, you were actually smart. Speaking of being smart, let's talk about Scarlett Johansson. This I looked up because of Jurassic Park, but I thought this would be an interesting topic. Scarlett Johansson.
It's not Jurassic Park. It's not Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park Rebirth. That's the new one.
It's not Jurassic Park.
It says Jurassic Park on it. It says
fucking Jurassic World.
No, it's Jurassic Park.
No, the name of the movie is Jurassic World Rebirth.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Park.
You are wrong.
Okay. But I'm not wrong about Scarlett Johansson says she no longer gets cast for her desirability or the male gaze.
That's a
Something
lie.
has shifted. I knew you'd love this.
How's that fucking possible? You can't be that. That's like, yeah, we casted Salma Hayek for her accent.
And her acting. Let's be real, she's a terrible fucking actress. Anyways,
Pretty mediocre.
yes, and you're being fucking generous. Scarlett Johansson has opened up about her fight to free herself from being labeled as a Hollywood sex symbol and getting
Good
cast
luck. Get ugly, I guess.
and getting cast solely because of her physical appearance.
Well, see, now I never said that either.
Yeah, you did. You fucking.
I never said that she got cast exclusively because she was super fucking hot. I never said that.
Yes, you did. You fucking sexist white.
I said with
Smell.
all things being equal, like if Bella Ramsey has the exact same acting acumen as Scarlett Johansson, everything being equal, why wouldn't you hire the hotter one? Duh.
Okay, so here's my counterbalance to it. On top of Scarlett Johansson being very attractive, I would say she is very good at acting. I mean, would you disagree with me? I think she's a very good actress. So it fucking baffles my mind when these actors or actresses come out and make these stupid fucking statements because it feels very much like they aren't even in line with their own talents. Like, yes, there's not a great deal of acting for being Black Widow, but you can't tell me, along with anybody else, there weren't tears when she fucking died in Endgame. Or, Endgame. I don't know about you. I had a fucking tear down my face. I was like, the hottest fucking person in the MCU is dead. And, it was a good scene. She sold the scene. So it's not like, she's just, oh, I'm so hot and they're only casting me. Like, for instance, Eva Mendes. That bitch can't act, but she's hot as shit. And I'm fairly sure she's only cast because she's hot as shit. Every single role she's ever had, every movie she's been in, I'm sorry, she's just fucking atrocious. But I still watch the movies. So, I mean, it's just so fucking ridiculous to me when people come out with these fucking statements because I don't think you understand that you're not on that same level. She could still act. Jojo Rabbit was a fucking excellent movie. Like, she does have talent. During a recent interview, she stated that her breakout role in the movie Lost in Translation put her in a box so that she was solely being casted for her desirability. However, that all changed for the actress as Scarlett Johansson landed roles in a wide variety of movies that showcased her acting capabilities, not just her looks. So, I mean...
Sure it did. I can get on board. Wait, what was in that picture? Go up. What was that picture? Right. She got cast because of her acting ability. Okay.
Johansson is undeniably one of the biggest stars in Hollywood and currently the highest grossing actress of all time. With
From what I can tell, she's got two of the biggest stars in Hollywood.
Earning $14 billion. However, reaching this point took a while for the Marvel star, who revealed that she had to fight her way out of getting casted only in roles made for the male gaze. This meant she turned down some roles despite being a young and hungry actress. In a chat with the Sunday Times, Johansson said, "When I was younger, a lot of roles I was offered or I went for had their ambitious ambitions or character arcs revolving around their own desirability, or the male gaze, or male-centered stories. That is less frequent, though. Something has shifted. She then noted that things have changed for the better for young women in the film industry now,
Sure.
partly due to the presence of more positive role models and successful women in top positions.
Okay.
Oh
I
my
mean,
god.
I got no problem with women in the top position.
The actors turned down roles.
That was a
That's
sex joke, guy. Come on, guy. You're supposed to laugh.
I did get that, but then I got distracted by this.
I know, we all did.
That T-Rex is fucking
I
pervert.
also forgot the terrible joke that I said when you scrolled down.
To ensure she didn't get permanently typecast in Hollywood for her desirability, Johansson revealed that she turned down roles that she felt were deeply unfulfilling and would have instead wait for parts that gave her a chance to prove her abilities as an actress, such as PB, the first. Remember Iron Man when she was introduced? I don't even think she spoke a fucking word in that movie. The only scene I remember.
She talks a whole bunch in Iron Man too. Don't be like that.
No. The first time we're introduced to her, the only thing I remember about her role was when she beat the shit out of Happy Hogan and put him in that fucking armbar that I rewound several times. Now, she might have talked, but I don't fucking remember it.
She didn't fight. What are you talking about? She fought a bunch of guards.
No, didn't she wind up fighting Tony Stark's bodyguard? I believe she fought him.
No.
We have to go back and watch that movie. It's been a couple of years since I've seen it.
I will definitely go back and watch Iron Man 2 because I think it's spectacular and it unnecessarily gets shit on too much.
Yeah, me too.
She definitely talks in the movie a whole bunch.
I'm pretty sure she doesn't talk that much, or maybe I could just be part of the male gaze problem. I admit I could be.
You do got a gaze problem.
I do got a gaze problem.
Showing a lot of cleavage tonight.
I am. I'm trying to get that male gaze up. What are the kids calling it? Riz? Anyway.
Oh yeah, you're trying to get the gaze erect with your Riz.
Hey, whatever sells. I'm trying to be like Hollywood. To ensure she. Okay, I already read that. So she noted that during this came with a fear that she might become irrelevant at any moment. However, for Johansson, playing the long game and being selective of what roles she accepted was the key to her success. No, this is bullshit. I'm going to go on a tangent before I read this last little bit. That's total fucking horseshit. Anybody who's in a Marvel movie, and the article even fucking said it, right? She was part of the crew of the best Marvel movies, okay? That is what fucking propelled her career. Don't give me this bullshit that, I was selective and I avoided the male gaze. So that's why I'm so...
I never avoided the male gaze. What are you talking about?
We know what is up, man.
Hi, how you guys doing?
I don't know. I was tired there for a minute, and then he said, "Baby," and I went, "Yeah." And then he goes, "We're going to talk about Scarlett Johansson," and then I was awake.
Okay, so let me just recap. So basically, just to give you a little summary, because I'm on the last little bit of this article, Scarlett Johansson is saying, and I quote, that it isn't the fact that she was cast in Marvel or all these big movies that she's famous now. She selected these roles to avoid the male gaze. And that now, for younger actresses, it's so much better in Hollywood because times are changing. The male gaze is being smacked down. Men don't go to watch movies anymore. Okay, let me tell you something. I went to see John Wick, Ballerina. And I could tell you something right now.
No, you went to go see Ballerina, a John Wick story.
Whatever. It's in the John Wick universe. Fucking John Wick appears. Anyways, that isn't the point. The point is, Arma de Armas is very good in the role. You know, she's got that very stoic whatever. But she's hot as shit. Okay? And I could guarantee you, half the people saw Arma de Armas is gonna be in the fucking movie, and they went to see it because they wanted to see her in fucking tight leather shooting a bunch of people. Like, what is
Did
wrong?
they put her in tight leather and have her shoot a bunch of people?
Yes. What is wrong?
So why didn't that movie do better?
Who the fuck knows? Anyways, my point.
COVID.
Oh yeah, it's definitely COVID. My point is, I hate this myth, this fucking thing. Like, the male gaze seems to only work for certain situations. Like, if this whole thing with the male gaze was actually fucking true, then why aren't these movies with all of these women fucking doing spectacularly? Why aren't they breaking box office? Why aren't we seeing a fucking $1 billion movie every fucking week?
I don't know. Probably Pornhub.
I mean, yeah, a lot more for watching that. I mean, Justin, what do you think about the male gaze?
I mean, I don't know. I haven't been to any of the gay bars lately, so I haven't kept up with them. So, but I'd say that you said that Scarlett Johansson wanted to avoid the male gaze.
Yes, and that
in all of the roles.
No, she only picked roles that avoided the male gaze. And
well,
yet,
I believe the costume department for the Marvel movies would disagree.
I was just gonna thank you. Yes, that is like, what are you? When in Marvel movies was she not in something tight? I don't remember it. Maybe
like
there were
leather in Avengers.
Well, hold on. In Ultron, her dress was pretty loose because it had to fit in her baby boobs. They show a lot of cleavage when she's talking to the Hulk. Well, not the Hulk, but Bruce Banner. Did I freeze or did everyone else freeze? What in the shit is going on? Did I lose internet? I don't know. There's nobody in the stream.
Johansson said, which is hard when you're a young actor. But at that time, I didn't have any children. So wow, a lot to unpack here.
Pack it in.
Yeah, so I guess only Colin Jost gets to have the male gaze with Scarlett or ScarJo. Okay, that's fine. I get it.
That's gay.
Okay, so
how is that gay?
All right, I gotta go.
Stop me from looking.
Facility. I gotta go use the facilities. You gentlemen, talk about the male gaze. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I don't go to any of the bars Justin goes to.
No, you live in Wisconsin. I live in Ohio.
Yeah, I mean that's a long way to go for just a gay bar.
Exactly.
Like if I was gonna go there, it'd have to be for an extra gay bar.
How extra are we talking about?
I mean, the whole outside and inside got to be painted like a rainbow.
I've met guys like that.
I believe it. I have not.
Yeah, there's absolutely zero denying it.
And all of these guys would still look at Scarlett Johansson.
They'd be like, girl, look at you. And,
right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's inevitable.
Like, just because they're gay doesn't mean that they can't appreciate how good a person looks.
In fact, it honestly gives them leeway to say it even more often. They say,
I mean, all of us say the same thing about Pedro Pascal.
What things do we say?
That's an attractive man.
Oh, yes.
That is 100%.
Am I supposed to deny this?
Not at all.
See, now we're talking real gays. I mean,
Yes,
do you think that Pedro didn't get cast because of being an attractive person? Because, like I said before you got here, Justin, I was like, okay, let's say you need somebody for a role, right? Like this is the role. The way that the person looks is not relevant for this particular role, and you have a choice between Bella Ramsey and Scarlett Johansson. Both of them will work just fine. Both of them have the same level of acting talent. Why wouldn't you pick the more attractive person?
I
Who the
mean,
hell is Bella Ramsey?
The chick from Bear Island. Didn't you watch Game of Thrones?
I don't remember that actress. Actually.
It's Ellie from The Last of Us.
Oh, she does look a little odd, I guess, but she looks like the character.
Does she?
no, not at all.
I guess.
What?
I guess, yeah.
Bella Ramsey does not look like Ellie.
She doesn't look like the character the way that literally everyone else in the show looks like that character.
The character, yeah.
Like
It's
everybody
terrible.
else is cast so spectacularly. And then you look at those two side by side and you're like, what the fuck happened? Like you would have been better off. You would have been better off casting Abby as Ellie. And then
That's what I said.
And then getting some butch bitch for Abby because the chick who plays Abby is like also a small girl.
Which is bullshit because we're talking about equality and they were like, oh, we're not going to cast someone big. We couldn't find anybody. Dude, go to the WWE. Fucking throw a stone. You could pick any of those bitches to be Abby. To be quite honest, like there is 20 people in the WWE working right now who you could easily cast to have played Abby in the fucking show. And don't get me wrong, Catherine Dever is a great actress. She's really good in the role, but she would have been way better as Ellie grown up. We already went through it. Let's get back to Scarlett.
You know what else is really good in the role?
What?
That fancy honey butter or whatever it is that you get at Golden Corral. Really good in the role.
Top tier. So I wanted to get back to ScarJo for a second. I got a theory, a little hypothesis. ScarJo is getting older. ScarJo is getting older, and I feel like
could have fooled me.
Yes, she's still fucking hot, but I feel like she's getting to this point where she's going, oh my God, am I as hot as the next so-and-so coming up? So she's coming out and she's saying all this fucking stupid shit to try to get attention drawn to herself because in Hollywood, you throw a stone, you can find 20 different women to replace ScarJo as far as looks go. So I think this is just a thing that especially women who aren't Helen Mirren or Susan Sarandon or any of the other older actresses.
Susan Sarandon's packing some nice ones.
But what I'm saying is talent-wise, these are actresses who are in great movies and dramas and things like that.
Like Rosie O'Donnell.
Fuck that.
Well, she was in a league of her own.
She's definitely in a fucking league of her own. But yeah, so
you know what's funny is that the male performances and then Gina Davis are the best performance. And the most memorable thing about A League of Their Own.
Well, yeah, it's Tom Hanks and Gina Davis.
Women's baseball. The most memorable moment is Tom Hanks. But
hey, we all know the rules. There's no crying in baseball.
I know.
Well, yeah, okay, but I mean that's just like Black Panther.
Name another quote from the movie. I'll wait.
Besides, there's no crying in baseball.
Yes.
Exactly.
There's only one that you know. That's just how it is.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of sad for a movie.
Oh, speaking of sad, let's talk about something really fucking sad. something me and PB know, probably Justin has heard a lot about. But let's talk about Ironheart. We got before I read this article, I want to
Justin
preface.
has heard nothing about it.
So before I read this article, I want to preface something because this happened to me. And then it stopped when the rest of the episodes came out.
Somebody called you racist because you said the show was shite?
Yes. And
that's good.
All of the
way
people
to keep up appearances.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. But in this rare case, I wasn't being racist, and all of the people who were saying that, they went super quiet when the last episode dropped. Do you want to know why they went super quiet?
Hold on, Sod. I loved how the ad at the bottom is like, we hate plain coffee too. So you hate black coffee as you're talking about being racist.
Hey, I guess I'm fucking consistently racist.
I think the Google ads are racist. See, there we go.
They're giving me all the racist ads. Okay, I swear I didn't plan this. I did not plan this at all. So Marvel's Ironheart reactions are in, but you're racist if you don't like it. And shout out
I
to
knew you were racist. Wait, I'm racist.
The first reactions for Marvel's Ironhearts are in. Per the norm, the blame game is already being applied. It's your fault if you don't like the series. We hate plain white coffee too.
Again, do they have to reiterate that so many times?
It's your fault if you don't like the series, and you're racist. We've seen this with other movies and shows, such as The Acolyte. The fans that blame the failure, blame for the failure instead of where the blame lies, which is those responsible for its creation. It's gotten to the point where it's become an internet meme. I haven't seen Ironheart yet. I'm not on Disney Marvel's list of reviewers. Disney Plus did not recently contact me to watch or review one of their shows early, but it comes with a host of demands. You can't say this. You're embargoed until this date pass. It's pretty funny about some of the reactions of to Ironheart is that while they say the show is good, they still blame fans. It's hilarious. It is. So, Ironheart debuts with a score of 32 on the tomatoes, which I don't even know why.
That seems high.
That is super fucking high. They admit Ironheart sucks, but look at how they're getting ready to blame you and call you racist. Ironheart fulfills low expectations with a weak narrative, poorly written characters, and dull action. It will arouse the ire of trolls who target Disney's diversity efforts. This is by MovieWeb. I haven't heard of MovieWeb, so... Oh, look, it's got 3.3k likes.
Wow.
This is from the Hollywood Handler that says #Ironheart has some fun moments, but it's never interesting enough.
It's the Hollywood Handle.
Whatever. Is not interesting enough, it manages to stick the landing. Bland characters, super uninteresting plot that doesn't know where it wants to go. A disappointment overall. They always say people don't like Ironheart because she's a black woman. No, I don't like her because I read the comic books and I didn't like her there either. Skin color is irrelevant. I know you need to be the reason so you can feel safe in your echo chamber, but reality shows more.
Show more.
#Ironheart is pretty solid with good performances.
Wait, you're not gonna read the rest of his tweet?
No.
Okay.
But
what was the point of trying to read it in the first place?
Justin, I swear to fucking God. It doesn't quite soar to such. It really takes a while to get going, and the villain isn't great. Though the final was well worth the watch. No, the fuck it was not. Rowan, whatever the fuck your last name is, I will not be following you.
Patel.
Mark says, I've I've seen all 6 episodes of Ironheart, and it's not good. It becomes obvious very quickly why Marvel decided to dump D plus 3 episodes at a time. Can't fault the cast, but none of them give much to work with. Some of the action scenes are passable, and the final is by far show more. Oh, that must be to show more of the tweet. No, I don't want to hear. The final fucking sucked. It was terrible. I don't care about what you have to say about that. Hashtag Ironheart delivers an insanely fun story that perfectly blends tech and magic. What the fuck were you smoking? What? Oh, it's the direct, of course. Like, no. Oh my god, no. Ironheart is a fine series. I really wanted to love, but came away not feeling much. VFX, action, and some new additions of magic mythology to the world of the MCU stand out. The Hood plus final equals awesome.
Finale.
But
oh god.
But the character arcs feel at a standstill by the end and don't go anywhere. Like, these are your top reviewers, folks. I don't even want to read the rest of this shit. Can we go down? Where's the rest of the fucking... Look at all these fucking reviews.
Can we just skip this? It's like, this is boring.
This is... I got a bonus article, but shut the fuck up. This is my show. Per the official synopsis, Ironheart is set in the events of set after the events of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Marvel Television's Ironheart pits technology against magic when Riri Williams, a young genius inventor, who's black, by the way, that'll be brought up several times in the show, very important, determined to make her mark on the world, returns to her hometown of Chicago. Her unique take on building iron suits is brilliant, but in the pursuit of her ambitions, she finds herself wrapped up with the mysterious yet charming Parker Robinson's, aka the Hood. So, Ironheart fucking sucked. It was one of the worst Marvel shows, and as a matter of fact, I apologize to fucking She-Hulk, because She-Hulk at least had fucking people who were capable of acting. Ironheart is a fucking god-awful show. Ironheart, right now on my top 10 worst list, it's number 1. Even Madam Web, I could find enjoyment in that because it was so hilariously bad that I could watch the movie just making fun of it. Ironheart is boring. The character is irredeemable. She's not a fucking hero. She's a straight up villain throughout the whole entire fucking show. But yet you're racist because you don't understand the fucking plight that Riri has to go through, even though she had a full fucking ride to MIT, which is one of the most prestigious schools in New York, thanks to Tony Stark, who she shits on, by the way. PB, how do you feel about Riri shitting all over Tony Stark? Exactly. He is fucking appalled. Justin.
I'm appalled?
Yeah. How did you feel about that scene where she talked about how she was going to be bigger than Tony Stark and he only got ahead because he has billions of dollars? They didn't say because he was white, but, you know.
They really wanted to.
They definitely wanted to.
It's fucking pathetic. I told you when we were just talking offline that I fucking hate it that whenever they're like, oh, we really need this character to fucking slap, they're like, oh, I know what we can do. We can tell you exactly why and how this character is better than the one who's similar to it, but you already know. It's like, no, you have to show me what is different. And then I don't have to like your new shit. Yeah, that's a little different.
And spoilers for anybody who gives a flying fuck about this fucking piece of shit show, which I strongly suggest you never.
No spoilers for the video game, though.
No spoilers for the video game, but for the show, she fucking sells her soul essentially to Marvel's version of the devil at the end of the show.
Yeah,
she sells her soul to get her fucking friend back. She is completely selfish character I shit you not, from the first episode to the
What a
last
hero.
episode. Yeah, what a fucking hero. In most shows, that would be your villain. The villain is selfish. They don't care about anybody else. They only help people if it serves their own goals. Like, I don't understand. I just don't get it. Like, Justin, would you be rooting for Riri? Are you a Riri fan? Do you like Ironheart?
I haven't seen any of it. I could give literally zero fucks about anything that Marvel comes out, let alone something that is just seeming to exist just to stir up, controversy. I have no idea. I'm just not interested in this kind of crap anymore. I'd rather go watch, the only thing I ever see like on a streaming service or like in the theaters anymore is something that, I don't know, it's independent and it's hard to illegally download online. I don't give a fuck about the rest of the shit. They're fine. I don't know. I just don't waste my time with this crap because, and it's the same reason why I was laughing my ass off when people were praising The Last of Us season 1. Like you didn't expect season 2 to come around and be the same shit all over again. You idiots. Why would you bother with something you're going to inevitably hate? I don't know. I don't know. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. That's all I'll say. What did you fucking expect? What did you fucking expect?
To be fair, The Last of Us is a little different because somehow they made it shittier than what the game was, which was a pretty shitty and miserable game to play in general. So I thought any change they made couldn't make it worse. Yeah, I was wrong on that. They made it so much worse.
Okay, you know what, Zod? I told you so.
Yeah, I mean, no, not really, because the first season was great, but I knew see, here's the difference, Justin. Let me finish. I knew going into the second season it wasn't going to be good. I was watching it to see how bad it was going to be. Now,
honestly, I was just chilling, eating my popcorn, and like, oh, Last of Us Part 2 came out, season 2. Oh, this is bringing back nostalgia vibes from a few years ago. I'm like, this seems familiar.
Well, here's the thing:
see everyone freaking out all over again.
Well, no, here's the crazy thing, though. People who are fans of the video games that were divided about the second one, we all universally agreed that the second season
came to a consensus finally.
Oh, we came to a consensus. The show was fucking dog shit. That, unlike Star Wars, that at least united us in one thing. The show is fucking horrendous compared to.
Good for you guys. Good for you.
Yeah, so it was a bit of a bonding experience. I do have a little bonus story. This is for PB because I know he's a fucking hardcore gambler when he's playing Pokemon. I want to share one of the dumbest ideas I've heard in gaming. So we're going to end with some gaming news. This is fucking wild, and I've got very strong opinions, but I want to get your guys' opinions because this seems like up there with legalizing crack.
What's wrong with that?
Shut the fuck up.
I think it'd make the world a better place.
Riot Games decides to allow sports betting sponsorships in top-tier League of Legends and Valorant esports, and thinks it's a good idea.
Fuck it.
No, shut the fuck up. Esports was already ruining games by having the competitive scene dictate what's in the game, but just putting that aside, you are not only in esports, a lot of people who come to these events are not the fucking legal gambling age. They're going to put kiosks.
No, they're the male gays.
Yeah, they're the male gays.
I don't.
They're gonna put. They're going to bring sports betting into things that are events with younger crowds, and I'm gonna get into some players that are now being threatened because when you have sports betting, you have people who bet on certain people, and now the people who are the big top pro players are being sent fucking death threats by hardcore gamblers because they lost money on a fucking bet. This is the worst fucking idea I think I've ever heard a gaming company say, oh yeah. And the reason is, well, if we don't do it now, it's just going to be done later. So we might as well just fucking throw gasoline on a fire and just watch it all burn.
You could have kept this shit private and no one would have known the difference.
Right,
that's
James?
your fucking fault. That's your fault. You bet money on... Okay, I kind of see your point. I see some mafia shit potentially coming down, and to involve minors into this is not acceptable. Yeah, I was about to make fun of your opinion for a second. I was like, who the fuck cares? But now I kind of get it.
Yeah, it's the whole fact with minors. Like, look, if we were talking there were 20 or 30-year-olds, and some of the esports players are older, we're talking minors go to these fucking events. And they're saying they're going to regulate this, but how the fuck do you regulate it? Like, look at any other sports betting, right? Horse track, boxing, fucking UFC. There's already bets going on for this year's football and things like that. Allowing gamblers into this kind of environment is a very fucking terrible idea. And this is pure corporate greed and fucking hubris. So Riot Games believes that building the future of esports means investing in a sustainable ecosystem, not for today, but for the long run. Riot's president of publishing and esports, John Needham, said today, and that's why the studio decided to open the door to betting sponsorship opportunities.
Well, why don't you know what? How about this? Why don't you legalize gambling on high school football? Let's go.
I know, right?
Explain
it. Let's just fucking let everybody fucking gamble. It's like just
that's cool. Fine. Fine. Let's at least be consistent.
Let's let fucking high schoolers fucking drink and drive. Let's just fuck it. Why do we have laws in the first place? Just let's go fucking nuts. We know sports betting isn't for everyone, and that some fans have strong feelings about it, and we respect that. No, the fuck you don't, Ham. No, you don't, because if you respect it, you would never have the stupid fucking idea to bring sports betting to fucking gaming tournaments. This is the stupidest fucking thing I think I've ever heard somebody say. He says, however, the reality is that betting activity already exists around our sports, and will continue whether we engage in it or not. AKA, it will continue, but we're not making any fucking money off of it. Historically, this has been restricted sponsorship category, and Riot has not engaged with betting companies. Teams have asked us to reconsider our stance. After years of analysis to ensure we got it right, we agreed it was time to open up this category to create more revenue opportunities for teams. There sure does seem to be a lot of money on the table, Needham cited. Figures provided in sports technological company Sports Radar saying the total betting turnover on League of Legends and Valorant esport hit $10.7 billion worldwide in 2024, but 70% of the betting across esports, or across all sports, not just esports, is made in unregulated markets with unlicensed bookies, aka fucking mob bookies. And Riot figures it's better for all involved if it moves to allow betting sponsorships thoughtfully and carefully with the right protections. This means...
Well, here's the thing. If you're going to do this, you can do this for adult tournaments. That doesn't fucking matter. But But if it's like one of those specified like all ages tournaments, you can't do that. It involves minors. Now, if it's an adult only league, I don't think there's any fucking problem.
But here's the thing, and they're going to get to that because it is an adults playing these games. TV. Where's the last time? Like, yes, I do know some people who play League of Legends and Valorant, but how many fucking adults do you know?
Born into it. They've been doing it since they were kids. I don't know. Like, who even watches esports? I don't understand the point of watching somebody else play a video game. I would much rather play that video game.
Dude, believe it or not, if I did that, I'd probably have fucking more traction than I do right now. There's a lot of people, dude. Esports, they just said they made $10.7 fucking billion in 2024. So a lot of people fucking watch esports.
No, I mean, good for them, but like, I will never understand the appeal.
But this is the problem. So we're getting to the younger audience because they addressed this.
Right.
They said that means Riot vets must approve all potential betting partners before they're allowed to form a relationship with teams. Potential betting partners must use official data provided by the grid performer in their offerings, and all teams must establish an internal integrity program that will ensure competitive, integral, safeguard players and young audiences, and update responsible betting practices. The key there is safeguard players and young audience. Half of League and Valorant is a younger audience. Most people have dropped off. I used to play League. Yeah, I dropped off. I got shit to do. It's too much of an investment, and I'm not fucking going pro. But the point is, the people who do go pro, they're like, one of the youngest players who is crushing it right now is 19 years old. That is not the age you could fucking bet. But they're going to have a fucking sponsorship by a betting service? It doesn't fucking make any sense. While Riot is embracing sports betting, it seems to be taking steps to ensure it's not really seen as being embracing sports betting. Riot-owned broadcast and social channels are staying betting free, which means no ads, no sponsor segments from betting partners, and no betting partner logos on team jerseys. Sustainable to avoid disrupting broadcast with a flood of sports betting ads, Needham wrote. Individual teams will be left to determine how betting-related content appears on their channels and subject to all applicable guidelines and local laws. To put it mildly, I have concerns that it's gonna happen anyway, so we should ensure it's done right justification is almost never as high-minded as it's presented. And the real problem with sports betting and sports gambling isn't that it's unregulated or sketchy, but that it's a scourge. The World Health Organization says that around 5.5% of women and 11.9% of men globally experience some level of harm from gambling, and cites that the Swedish studies indicated that people with gambling problems were 15 times more likely to die of taking themselves out of this world than the general population. Despite that, gambling has been normalized through new commercial associations, the sport and culture activities, and that now heavily promote. Now Riot is going to contribute to the normalization for an audience that skews younger than those of conventional sports, a demographic the WHO says is especially susceptible to heavy promotion of gambling online. I take small comfort in seeing the reactions to the announcement of League of Legends and Valorant competitive subreddits are not entirely positive. There are a lot of resigned acceptance and some caution, maybe a little forced optimism, but better revenue shares for tier 2 teams, but also plenty of concern about the long-term social impact of the epidemic of sports gambling, the possibilities of heightened toxicity, or even violence against esports pros at the hands of angry gamblers was also brought up. It's going to be especially bad for League of Val players since they are way more online than norm sports athletes. So it seems like a terrible idea all around, at least for anyone who doesn't stand to make money on it. But Needham concluded by saying Riot believes showing up in this space responsible is better than letting others define it for us. We've said that Riot is for long term on our esports, and the means stepping into arenas like sports betting with the objective to both guide and protect brands from bad actors and establishing what good looks like, while also providing an avenue for teams to benefit financially, he wrote. With any new endeavor, there will be challenges, and if we need to make some adjustments, we will. Please know the overall commitment to do right by our players, teams, and fans, as well as world-class esports experience that we've built together and we want to see thrive for years to come. This is the stupidest fucking idea I've ever heard. There's no way to regulate this, and you are now... This seems like an intentional thing, at least to me, because they acknowledge they have a younger audience. It's like creating a new generation of fucking gamblers to hook them to betting on esports, which all the fucking money is going to the head of Ryan, Needham. Jussa, what do you think about putting sports betting into this event? This just seems like a fucking terrible idea.
I mean, you already have some of the esports, a lot of them taking place in Vegas already. I mean, yeah. I mean, these players can't even go into the arena without being escorted by a parent because you have to walk through the slot machines. Like, I'm torn. I'm a little torn. I don't really have any real investment either way because I don't fucking do that shit. So I don't know if people really want to blow their money, blow their wads on some fucking players playing video games. Go ahead, waste your goddamn money. I don't give a fuck about that. But once you get organizers in there, then that could be, I guess that could be a slippery slope to ruin the lives of some people, but mostly it's the possible like death threats and the potential bargaining, like, hey, can you throw this game because I have money on this? I'll split the pot with you, kid. That sort of thing, that sort of shit can happen. It's like, I don't know. It sounds worse than like the perverts in Hollywood.
And I want to piggyback for a second. You made an excellent point. How many boxing matches and shit do you hear about where a fight is favored to go a particular way, and yet mysteriously this other person wins, and all of these fucking bets just go fucking wild? And then years later, you hear about how the fighter threw the fucking bout. I mean, back in the day, it's what the mob used to do. Just fucking throw the bout, and you see more money from the fucking bets than you would have seen from the fucking paycheck for winning.
Yeah, the players winning, like they get less money somehow. I don't know.
I mean, not that I'm saying gaming has this big integrity or whatever, but just in general, historically, from what we've seen in sports betting across all of these different things, football, basketball, baseball, fucking horse races, this ruins the integrity of the sport. And gamers are already a fucking crazy crowd as it is. These guys get threats just from video game fanatics, right? So just imagine how many fucking threats they're going to get from these hardcore gamblers. And these fucking people are nuts. You hear crazy ass stories. I think this is just letting in a floodgate. And if it isn't just,
oh my God, you just gave me a good idea. The crazy gamer people who like talk shit on the internet all the time, and then actual mobsters. You know what? I want them all to get in one of those like fenced-in playpens and just release the hounds. Like,
dude, it's.
Have you ever heard of George Carlin's stand-up of having like the four corner states, and then all the sexual weirdos like here, the alcoholics and drug addicts here, violent criminals, and then I don't know what the fourth category was, and then they have one fence that opens up so you can go to all the different corners. And it's only open for 11 seconds. I'm thinking about that right now. And you know what, Todd? I think I changed my opinion. I want to see how this shit goes down.
No, but to take it to a serious thing. My daughter likes Fortnite and things like that. And I just think about maybe just coming from a parent's perspective, right? Mm-hmm. These kids they get these passages and stuff like that. You're going to have they're going to put in these fucking betting machines and stuff like that. And they can say they're regulated or whatever else, but kids will get around that. And I feel like this is creating more of the younger kids to getting into making bets, probably with their mom and dad's credit card, because we've already seen this shit in gaming with skins and fucking buying currency, right? For the free-to-play games, you buy the premium currency, and there's already an epidemic with kids doing this shit without their parents knowing. Imagine fucking betting. It's like, that's like fucking dangling a chocolate bar and saying, oh yeah, don't eat it, but here, it's going to be sitting right here in front of you the whole fucking time. Like, this just sounds like greedy corporate fucking nonsense that's trying to be justified by we can do it better. Well, what fucking secret do you have that for the past fucking 20 or 30 years they haven't been able to do? Like, there's been violent crimes, deaths, all sorts of shit around betting. You're saying you're going to keep all that shit out? And there's fucking kids involved? This seems like a really fucking terrible idea. And this article came to me recently. And dude, people are fucking pissed. Even the teams. There's been some big time people on the teams that have dropped from the team because they don't want to deal with what it's going to mean with betting being allowed. Like, they're already getting fucking death threats from these fucking crazy gamers. Now you're going to be getting fucking death threats from fucking crazy bettors. It's not fair. Like, I get what you're saying. Like, pit these two crazy people and watch a fight, and that's a fun idea, but the people caught in the middle are going to be the players and the other people involved who just want to go and have a fucking fun time watching their favorite person perform. It's man, I don't know what's fucking going on in the world today. It's fucking nuts. I don't even know how this got passed. Like, there's got to be laws, especially when you're bringing minors into this. There's got to be fucking laws and separation, or what the fuck are we doing here? Just let them fucking drink and smoke and everything else. Why the fuck do we have a law on anything else?
I mean, did we? Don't go sitting there telling me you didn't do that too.
No, that's not the point. What I'm saying is, I didn't do it legally. What I did as a kid. It's still fucking illegal. There wasn't a bartender going, oh yeah, kid, come on down to the stool, take a fucking shot. No, I snuck in like every other fucking kid and had a fake ID.
Yes. Yeah.
But that's my point. There's a difference between encouraging something and someone doing something that
knowing that it's bad.
Yeah, knowing it's bad.
It gets a lot more serious when you get to Vegas. Like no one fucks around with that. Like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's different when there's a sense of, okay, you have to be 21 to do this thing. We're not going to let you in this. I'll give you an example, right? I do security for a bar. Like, we allow minors in until 7 o'clock because we do bar and food or whatever else, but we do more bar shit at night, right? So if you're younger, it does not fucking matter if you're with your parent or not. There are no minors after 7 p.m. No questions, right? Now, if we allowed minors in with their parents in the state of Wisconsin, they can drink if they're giving something by an adult. But the reason why we don't allow this is because now if something happens to that minor in our bar, we're still held responsible even if the parent gave them the drink. So to avoid all of that problem, we say no minors after 7 o'clock. You see what I'm saying? Because it keeps us protected.
Like you just say in the middle of the restaurant, hey, it's 7 p.m. Kids, get the fuck out.
Yeah, basically. That's what I do. I go to every fucking minor. I'm like,
finish your meal and then leave.
Exactly. Because
would you like to get it to go, sir? Okay, cool. Bye.
Exactly. Because that is the rules. I don't say, okay, yes, you could stay because you're fucking with your mom or your dad and it's all good. No, because that puts us at risk. But what they're doing is the opposite. They're like, yeah, we're going to allow these people in, but we're going to tell this one group, no, you can't do that. How the fuck? Dude, those esports get thousands of fucking people there. How are you supposed to regulate who's a minor making a bet versus who's an adult making a bet? Like, what kind of security is going to 100% guarantee that nobody underage is partaking in betting? There's no way to do that.
You can figure it out, but
yes, maybe you could, but the answer is just because you can, should you? I mean, we can't. Maybe they can. Maybe they got a perfect airtight way to make sure.
I don't even think you could do that with FanDuel.
I mean, you could barely do that in Vegas.
You can do it in Vegas fine. They can't, can't guarantee if a minor is pressing a button, or a parent is letting their little child sit there and press the button. Legally, you're not supposed to do that. But if security is good enough, they'll be like, hey, look, the child legally is like, if they press the button, like that's illegal. Like you can't do that. Then because the rule is if you press the button at the slot machine, regardless of whose money is in there, if you hit a jackpot, whoever pressed that button, that's their money. End of discussion. That doesn't work with a toddler who's sitting on their drunk dad's lap. Like, that doesn't work. Like, that is so many... Like, you are now disqualified from the winnings if that happens. Like, because security will check the foot. They don't fuck around with this. Any way to not pay you out, they'll take it. But it can be a mess. Good luck. I don't want any part of it.
That's what I'm saying too. Good fucking luck. I think this is a terrible idea. And it's just super fucking horrendous. So that's pretty much the show. We've gone through all of the stuff. PB was riveted by the gambling. He is appalled. I'm just doing his reaction. Yeah.
All right, guy. I don't care. I'm asleep.
So we're gonna. I want to do something we haven't done in a while, Justin. You know the segment. I'm gonna read a little bit of the article, and we're going to
do the headlines.
The headlines, yes. So, the first headline of the night, The Last of Us co-creator departed ahead of season 3, says now is the right time.
He's jumping ship while he's ahead. They've already covered the games. There's nothing else to do. Bye. We lost our lead star. let's leave. Let's leave now before it's too late. Before while the show still has a little integrity, I guess.
Perfect. Okay.
That tells me everything I need to know. It's kind of like reminds me of Game of Thrones when they went off book.
Oh. God damn, dude, every time I think I'm away from that fucking train wreck, something just reminds me about how wrong I am about that. Scarlett Johansson reveals she no longer is getting cast for her desirability.
Oh, that's what the article was about? Whoa.
No, that's perfect.
Okay. All right. Okay. I don't want to say anything else.
Okay, Marvel Ironheart's reactions are in, but you're racist if you don't like it.
I didn't watch it, so I'm not a racist. I don't like superhero movie crap. Sue me. You can't call me a racist for hating everything in one genre.
And last but not least, esports announces they are allowing sports betting into Valorant and League of Legends.
The internet.
I think yours was just good fucking luck.
The internet trolls versus the mafia. Let's go. Let's see how long these fucking internet queefs last.
All right. So thank you very much. That's been me, Pop Culture PB, or the Sleepy Bear. He's been asleep. Hey, Joey, thank you. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. We're just wrapping everything up. Thank you everybody for watching. It's been fucking fun. I've been a little behind on getting movie reviews out, and it's just because I've been super busy. We got a lot of stuff going on. We had the 4th. I have stuff going on with Bitchy and just, you know, some life shit where I've had to put some reviews on hold, but I will be back. I'm going to see Superman. I can't wait. I got 2 tickets back to back. Let's go. And I will be shaving my head and face. I will be going completely bald.
What?
Yes, I am going to go bald.
Head Zod is back.
Yes, I'm going to be bald. So all of this will be gone, folks. I will be bald in honor of, I hear Nicholas Hoult is really great as Lex Luthor. So I'm going to be going bald to see Superman. And I will have a review up the fucking day that it comes out. Reviewers got to see it early. Fuck you guys. It doesn't come out here until this Thursday night is the special premiere, and then like the official showings are like Friday. But I'm gonna be going to see it on Thursday, so I will probably have my review out on Friday. Because then I have to go into work, so I can't fucking do a review. But I'm super fucking excited. I can't wait. I'll have a review on that. I'm predicting it's going to be one of my top 10 movies of this year. But yeah, super fucking stoked for that. I'm going to have a lot more reviews coming. Got a lot of horror movies that I still have to review. I've seen a bunch of horror. I just haven't had time to do all of the reviews. And my Penny Dreadful series will be coming out. So I am located generally in Wisconsin. So that is why they have not had the premiere of Superman yet. I believe the actual release date is July 11th. I want to say July 11th.
Yes.
So, but it's going to be out here. They got a showing on Thursday. So I'm probably going to go and see that.
But I may see it at the earliest at 2 p.m. on Thursday, I can get a review out that night and spoil it for everybody. That'd be fantastic.
Also, too, if you want, we can do a review on that. I like to get your opinion. We could go over it. Talk about what we like.
The only other Superman movie I've seen in theaters is Superman Returns.
Oh, so this is going to be interesting. I'm very curious.
I'd never seen any of the DCEU Superman movies. I heard they were shite, so I didn't watch it.
But anyways, that's the show. Thank you very much. We will be back again to do another late night talks, and I will be having Petty Dreadful episode 3 breakdown done for you guys sometime. CBS pulled my last video, and I had to cut 6 minutes out of it. It was a 12-minute video. I cut 6 minutes out because of fucking clips, so fuck you, CBS, and I gotta find another way to integrate clips without them fucking... They blocked my video completely on my channel, so fuck you, CBS. I hope you fucking burn. I was trying to give your show a fucking good review, and you guys are a bunch of fucking cunts. So I have to do a lot of editing with these videos and show like 2 or 3 minutes worth of clips, because if you play them in the background, even with no sound, they still fucking claim you. It's getting fucking ridiculous, and YouTube needs to get off their ass and do that because they are violating fair use. I even put in I fought them, and I still got my fucking video still had to be edited. So, fuck them. Fuck them all. This is why I don't do reviews for like Disney shows and shit like that, because if you show any of their clips, they'll fucking yank you in a second. When I do my Superman review, I'm not going to have any clips. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Justin, for being on. Thank the Sleepy Bear for coming on and, starting off the show. And as always, remember, there is only one rule. Here in the fandom zone, kneel before General Zod.
No.
Yeah. You always kneel.
No.
That's the thing. You kneel.
No.